What's up, guys? I think I was trying to allow some people to join in. Looks like we got just under 100 now, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on this. Excited to see everyone. As the video said, we've been working on this for a very long time, since really about June of last year. So I'm excited to show you what we got. I'm going to dive right in. When we did the idle, it took us well over an hour, so I'm going to try to go as fast as I can, but we do have kind of a lot to talk about. Um, One of the things I want to talk about is, speaking of the idle, the idle took forever for us to deliver. So we tried really hard to try to improve that this time. It was slow for even us. The TM40, the Shocker, all our Angels usually took maybe 8 to 10 months, something like that. And the idle was way longer than that. We had to go to Taiwan. We had some machining problems, and then Blizzard shut down, and Outlaw shut down and moved shop. So I'm not trying to make excuses, but this time we tried to get our ducks in a row so that that wouldn't happen again. So the idol came out to the public in late January. We did our first sales on March 4th, so like a month and a half later. This one came out in early November, and we're going to be doing our sales in late May. We basically pushed everything back 5 months so that it was the last possible moment to where we could kind of go live. And then I got online with all of our anodizers this past week. Talked to all of them, and brought in Static again. He's doing stuff again. We talked for about an hour, just making sure that they can handle the throughput. We're excited about that. I've got commitments on so many a week from most of our bigger anodizers. And we're actually doing something we've never done before, is if you get a full custom and excluding prisms, which most people won't be eligible to buy anyway. That's the only plate we're making. And Caustic Customs, he takes quite a bit. We're giving a 6-month ship guarantee on full custom. So if you order full custom, the Premier Pro subscribers can start ordering tomorrow. We'll be shipping within 6 months guaranteed, or else you get a we've always gotten refunds if people get tired of waiting. But we'll give you $100 off, $100 back refund. You still get your gun, or a 1-year Premier Pro subscription, which is like few $100s, $250 in value, something like that. So mostly doesn't sound like much, but if we refund 400 guns, if we miss it, that's like 40 grand for us, which is, we're small. So I like the pressure, and we've done a lot to get our ducks in a row. So hopefully fulfill our goals on that. All right, so let's dive in to the gun itself. I'm going to share my screen. You don't need to see me. We'll just go with that. All right. So everybody knows that we always have like an inspiration piece. Sometimes they're dorky, but they get us started. This time it was a cup from my wife. Some of you may have this in your house. This was a piece we were going to make on the idol. We actually had two idols in design, and then we were going to make the main dragon, and then I wanted to make this piece. We couldn't agree, so we said we'll make a limited run, like 150 of a second run of an idol. It didn't quite pop like we wanted to on the idol, like the idol itself release. And early on, we became aware of the air, so we decided to just wait on the design for the air. So that's what we've done. We waited on it, and that's why some of you have been getting boxes with our extra idol boxes. This is an emerald cut. It's a gemstone design. The back of the gun is our goal was to have an emerald cut, and the front of the gun was to have Mazarin cut, which is traditional diamond cut, what you're used to. I think it'll look good in a prism. Speaking of foil, speaking of this look. And then one other thing I'll mention is when we started making the idols, we discovered on accident that when we were doing washes with our dragon skin, this is just a regular wash. This is what the person ordered. But some of our anodizers were getting really good, what we end up calling high-low effect, where the cracks on accident were turning out not how we ever had before. It's just kind of worked out that way. You see the grip here. And like, for instance, in a prism, they always just come out the exact same, like this area right here. But if you see on the barrel, it actually just, so a lot of our patterns, accidentally had a pretty cool high-low effect. So for the first time ever, we said, look, let's design on purpose for anodizing a high-low effect. So modify our gemstone cuts, which is a little more understated than our idle. We went back to like our TM40 roots. Um, let's do a high-low pattern to where we can allow customers dual surface finishing, so a high surface and a low surface. Last year, we met with Ryan Hall from Arc Anodizing at World Cup, and we spoke to him about what he needs to see, what what dimensions, what thresholds, all that stuff, that so we can make sure. And for the first time ever, really worked when we were doing CAD and engineering with the specs he gave us to make sure that we can maintain this high-low effect. So let's dive in because I got a lot to talk about on the modifications, but some people just care about the looks, so we'll get to that. I'm just gonna go through a bunch of different like kind of looks. Um, Here is like just a front top. This is the pattern in the back. You can see the Starbucks cup, the emerald cut, and these are diamond cuts. Um, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start at the beginning and just kind of slide through real quick because I want to talk about the mods. So again, you see the cut pattern here in the back. You got the diamonds on the front. Um, there's a high low pattern with black and red, high low black and blue. There's another black and blue high low. You don't have to do black, obviously. I'm gonna post all these, so I'm not gonna spend a ton of time on each one, but except when I'm talking about the modifications, because there's a lot going on there. Um, that that one shows something. I gotta remember to come back to that. All right, so let me just go back to. We'll just go back to this one. This one I just happen to have up. Okay, so we're gonna talk. No, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm gonna go one of the side views. It's just easier that way. Go with New York Extreme. This is the NYX gun. So they're doing like a gray with the on the high and the black, or the yeah, and the black and the low. So so again, we got a gemstone design milling. All the parts are milled. This is everything's our parts except no, actually this gun, I think everything is our parts. I'll get to that later. Um, and again, if you're new to custom anodizing, don't feel like you have to choose a high-low. Like Chris Wrangle's doing a grizzly, it's going to look awesome. But if you wanted to act, for instance, my Baba Yaga, I'm doing the normal gun smoke, but I am going to highlight some of the cracks with some black. So it gives you just an additional surface to play around with. Okay, so modifications. Some of you really care about that. Let's get into it. The first thing I'm just going to go on my list here. This is how you see it when you see the gun on the website. Is the tail cover. So I'm going to read the kind of technical thing, and I'll tell you just kind of if you don't understand it, what's going. The Adrenaline Air. It's a vertical pull bolt cap featuring a positive lock mechanism that prevents accidental release and micro movements during firing while providing clear visual lock confirmation. That's the blurb. Basically, tail cover, instead of flipping like a traditional Luxe, we've elected to make it pop up like Bob Long first came out with many years ago. Bob Long had magnets on his, and it kind of popped back down, and then thereafter Planet put a detent system in so it'd stay up to allow you to pull back one on it, and we think that's a pretty awesome design. So um, props to Bob and props to Planet, but that's kind of where we've got some inspiration from, and it's kind of fit within the Luxe platform here. It's similar in size, but you can see we've added in the back kind of some ridging. Here we go. So you can get your thumb under. If you don't want to grab the side, you can get it from the back too. So there you go. So this whole piece goes up if you don't know what I'm talking about, and that's how you pull it out. So there's no micro movements or anything like that, and it's a clear lock. It's either locked or it's not. It's obvious. Many of you played with other guns that have features like that, and you're familiar with it. Shout out to Nick Mays from Mason's Paintball last year. He came up to me at a tournament and suggested we look into this, and he had like 400 guns in his tent, and I played with really every locking mechanism you can imagine from his inventory, and we didn't talk about it for about a year. Next thing you know, we people think we don't take their advice or suggestions, but we just seem like we don't. And the next thing you know, we implement it. All right, so lock and rear mechanism. This one's pretty obvious. It's a one-piece aluminum foregrip. It's a little bit larger than stock. We'll get into that like online with specs, but it's a little bit larger than the stock foregrip. It's a one-piece design, as you can see. It's all aluminum, except we have machined in bands. And these bands, if you're anything into real arms, you may be familiar with Hogue. Our favorite grip pattern is a Hogue pattern, and we kind of got inspiration from one of their patterns that's really popular within that industry. It's real grippy. And so our plan was to get people to, how can we get people to stop wrapping these things up? So we got some grippy texture in the front. I like it, but it also gets a lot of aluminum for our anodizing guys. If you're paying, $600 for a customs anodizing, you want to be able to show it off. So we try to maximize that. It is not toolless. There is one screw in the bottom. But if you're not familiar with the Aire, you really never need to take this off. You recharge the gun from the back. You pop off the back strap. That's where you recharge. The battery itself, if you ever had to replace it, is over 100,000 shots on a charge. That's not a replacement. That's just a charge. The eyes are fully sealed. Shouldn't have to get into there. So it's not a big deal. Most of the guys on our team have never had this off. But it is not toolless. So I just want a full disclosure on that. But it is all aluminum, and it's like, again, it's not as big as some other competitors, but it's a little bigger than stock and very textured. Another thing we've done is breech geometry for anti-bounce roll-in design to reduce ball bounce with non-force fed loaders during low paint or end of scenario situations, especially beneficial mechanical play where electronic loader delay isn't available. So if you don't know how loader delay works, it basically says, do I see a ball in here? Sure do. Still see it? Yeah, let's wait a little bit longer. Okay, delay's up, fire. So if a ball's kind of rattling around, you can easily fix that with loader delay, whether you need to move it higher or lower. As many people know, we focus a lot on mechanical. There is no loader delay mechanical because there's no software. So for us, it's important to make sure the balls aren't bouncing around. So we changed the geometry on this, and I'm going to be honest. It's nothing we broke the mold on. It is inspiration from the Planet DefTech system. If you're familiar with that, that system was patented for 20 years and it just expired. So props to Jack. He enjoyed that patent for a long period of time, and we did put our own twist on it. We didn't like the off-center asymmetrical look, so we focused on having it more symmetrical. But it's definitely inspired by his kind of upside down P approach. And I say he, Nick Truder told me he was heavily involved in the invention of that 25 years ago or whatever it was. But in any event, if you're familiar with, a lot of people don't know what DefTech is, but it's basically designed to allow the ball to come in and slide and come in a little bit of an angle and stop, so it's not dropping in and bouncing. It's to prevent the ball from bouncing. It minimizes the need for loader delay and electronic and mech. It's very important, obviously, because there is no loader delay. So nothing groundbreaking on our end except just implementing a really solid design and putting our own little spin on it. The Adrenaline Fresh Air barrel. So props to Brandon Stevens on this one. So last year we found out our idle was pretty loud. A lot of them were. So I had a lot of customers experimenting with things, and Brandon found out and had 3 other people tell me the same thing, but he was the first, that if you're underboring with our SAS inserts, or if you're just bore sizing with a regular insert, but he was using our SAS, and as most of our customers are, he found out that the carbon nano barrel is the quietest by far. He sent me videos, and I could actually see it hear it on the video that it was the quietest. So we started recommending it to people that were using our setup with the SAS, and they found that it was so quiet. So last June, whenever we sent that video, I said, I'm going to use some sort of micro porting design, because most of our customers do bore sizing or underboring. So a normal tip has like 80 or so holes. Carbon has like 700 and some in theirs. We have just under 600, but you can see they're micro ported. They start a little closer to the front than what you'd be used to on a nano. The that gets a little bit farther away from the end user, the holes, which is where the loudness starts. Um, and they are micro, so they're water, rain resistant, paint resistant, all that. I mean, 600 holes, like I said, normally you get about 80. And because of that, the quantity of the holes, it's actually very open. It's more open than the stock tip. Meaning, if you add all the holes in this versus all the holes in, a lot of other tips, it's very open design. It just doesn't appear that way. So anyway, we're thanks for Brandon for defining that out, and we're excited about the sound signature and the quietness, which has been a big focus for us on this project. Um, the bolts on the inside, I say bolts because there's plural. We couldn't really agree what bolt to do. We had an internal dispute, and so we're giving everybody 2 bolt systems. You both win. We both lost. However you want to look at it. The blast from the past, the F16, which is by far our most popular bolt we've ever really made, is coming back, but in an air format. So it is an all aluminum tip. It's, to my knowledge, the only all aluminum tip air bolt, because the air is so freaking soft on paint. If people are breaking paint, it's something that they've got to figure out with a loader delay or regs or something like that. But we've shot crazy, crazy brittle paint. I don't think a soft tip's necessary. You can gain a lot of feet per second on an aluminum tip. So with WS2 coating on the can and the bolt, like we've always done, that's what I really wanted to do. It's probably what I'll shoot, but it's just the F16 version of basically into an air with our own can with some modifications to the can and the bolt itself in the rear. But at the tip is essentially an F16 all aluminum tip. We've also made a soft tip, our own version of the soft tip, if the paint's crazy brittle or if you're just a major proponent of soft tips. However, we did change that. It is a rear mounted tip insert. So instead of a snap on front, it comes in from the rear. There's others that have done that in the past. It's like a top hat with a shoulder inside the bolt cavity, and the top hat hits the bolt, shoulder and keeps it in place. You do lose a little bit of velocity on, straight F16 to this format, but it's a soft tip, and we're making it up in a lot of areas, obviously with the SAS and other things. So, but everybody gets both bolt systems. I'm personally, like I said, I'm probably going to use the F16, and if I go somewhere where it's crazy brittle, I'll pop in the soft tip. But again, the soft tip does mount from the back side. And everybody will get, whether it's quick ship or full custom, everybody will get both of those, and the cans, our own can, our own bolt guide, a lot of different stuff going on the inside. So I've talked about that. I'm sorry. And that bolt also, I missed this, is also WS2 coated, the lock tip, and it is the can. Of course, it's WS2 coated as well. Modified the internals for return stroke with a focus on faster firing and mech play. So we've spent some time worrying about the forward stroke is the soft part, and the back is just as fast as possible. It doesn't hurt anything. So we've spent a lot of time trying to get a fast return stroke, which again, for my crew that plays mechanical, the longer the breech is in an open position, the better off everyone is. Electronic frame with gemstone milling, obviously open bottom design for extended triggers, as well as stock and other aftermarket triggers. So you can put any kind of trigger you want on your gun. Everybody gets 2 triggers. I'm going to be talking about that, but we made a shallow deuce, which is what this is. It's just a shallow deuce. It's almost a blade, but it's not quite. And then we have an adrenaline scythe, similar to stock. Both of them are extended. And what do I mean by that? So in our trigger frame, we create a cavity, and the triggers actually go, it depends on your rake, but they can go into the cavity. No one really grabs their trigger at the top. They grab it near the bottom or the middle. So the top's just useless for the most part. So I brought a little bit down here, and we added more material, a significant amount in the bottom. So much so that basically we removed some of the trigger guard to allow proper movement and wiggle. Although our triggers are a little beefier, you never know what people are going to do. So we try to make sure that if it's got side tension on it, that it won't be banging into the sides. So both the scythe and the shallow deuce are extended triggers to allow just If you're pulling near the top, it's harder. Pulling near the bottom of something, it's easier, and it just allows you to get a little lower on it. It's our same kind of frame design where it kind of comes in the tip here. We've done that on every gun the last 10 years. Two custom anodized matching anodized adrenaline triggers, the extended shallow deuce and the extended scythe. I've mentioned that they'll be anodized to match. The mech frame, I don't have a picture of the mech frame, but I do want to talk about that. So we are doing this in the mech. So it's the longest legal mech trigger basically anyone's ever made. So again, any kind of a rake adjustment, it still doesn't protrude past the trigger guard of mech, but the rules are basically a trigger guard length, and we're well within that. But right up within that, and to allow freedom of movement, we have a very long mech trigger that basically does the same kind of concept. The stock the stock air mech. Hans said I could talk about that because I want to talk about how ours is different. It's coming out soon, so I guess heard some of it here first. The stock mech frame is basically this frame with some metal here, or I'm sorry, just picture this frame with a single trigger design, same height, same length, same grips, same back strap. To my knowledge, it has a back strap. And it has 4 finger groups here below the trigger. So the trigger kind of stops here, and you got 4 fingers. And you can do some cool things with it because it's interchangeable with, like, the grips and everything are interchangeable with the stock electronic frame. Ours we kind of built from the ground up. It's a traditional 1911 style. It's shorter, so it's it's going to come up probably in this area. It's designed for mech, so it's our own grips. In fact, the grips are aluminum, and they'll be anodized to match your marker. And we also have some really, it's like the Luxe Idle mech grips, which were my favorite grips. So you get a rubber set of grips, a 1911. You can use your own 1911 grip panels, or you get anodized to match adrenaline. We custom made them actually, aluminum grips. So we have our own mech frame that's pretty different in a couple regards from how the stock mech frame is going to be. No timer this time because the regulator, is swap places. There's just no room in the guts now for it. But we do have the extended trigger in the mech frame, and it's kind of, like I said, built from the ground up. This whole platform for fast firing in mech, which it's already obviously super fast. Again, custom anodized single trigger mech trigger. I talked about that. It's tournament legal. It does not, no matter what rake you do, it doesn't stick past the frame, but it's definitely inside of it if you want to maximize the amount of fingers touching the trigger inside there. Both frames include matching ASAs. We've done that in the past. We're going to continue to do that. You get a much smaller now, our power SAS. So we basically are doing our barrel system, which we've done in the past, and we're doing it in the power system. But the one you get with the gun now is 683. If you're not familiar with it, we always recommend to downsize 1 or 2 sizes. When I first came out with this, I lent my Luxe Idle to Sam Telfer from Ground Zero Gold throughout the event at Pittsburgh. He handed it back to me. They didn't, unfortunately, move on to the finals, and we did. We actually won that event. And he handed it back to me. I went on to the finals after I was able to use it, and I was at 319, 321, 319. We couldn't figure out what Sam was doing, and it was he didn't have a SAS insert, and we did, and so it was 20 feet per second difference on just the barrel insert. So those there's plenty of people out there that have them. They are very difficult to do. They're like a race car part. I spend 7 hours for every 35 inserts, so it sucks, but we're doing them. And then one thing we're doing, we're going to be making a set, and one thing we're doing that I don't think anyone on the planet has done in the past is we're making a 675 insert. But basically, I've had many people say, "Oh, I need a 680 insert, or 682 or 678, and that's all I need in my whole bag with the SAS." So we're trying to get some smaller ones. So our whole set will be keyed on the smaller side with we'll be offering again a 675 power, which I don't think anyone's ever really had one that small before. Let's see what else here. The main case we have, so all of them will ship with the adrenaline main case, except the quick ships are going to ship with a stock case, but the stock case will be modified in the foam area, to basically accept our platform, which is a little bit thicker, obviously here and here. And it's all logoed up as in the past. I'll show, let me see if I can, we have a new collector's box, which, a lot of our guys like. My wife designed this one. It's dual finish, just like a lot of our guns are. So it's a matte box with a polished logos on the side. It's kind of murdered out on the inside. The this time the cello that it comes with is black as well. So it's a kind of a different all black, matte black with gloss black design for the collectors that like those kind of things. Also, everybody gets adrenaline air barrel cover, just little things that we always do. If you're not familiar with us, we kind of try to load it up. We're doing the certificate of authenticity again, which is on the blockchain, which keeps track of all the transactions. So if you don't have to do like legit checks on people, you can just see who's owned the marker from the factory. If somebody's re-anodized it from a dust black to a full custom after, like beyond us doing the anodizing, things like that. And so that, yeah, we're doing that again. And then the last thing on my list here, and I mentioned that, is that all full customs except prisms and those by Caustic include a 6-month ship guarantee. So not delivery, because we're shipping, we're working with people in Thailand now. We're working with, people in Europe and Australia. So it's just a 6-month ship guarantee on the full customs, excluding Caustic and excluding prisms. If not, you get a $100 refund back to your payment method, or if you want, you can get a 1-year Premiere Pro, which is $216. That costs us about 150. So in any event, that's the bulk of the mods. There are some stuff on the inside we're holding back a little bit longer for various reasons. But oh, and the one thing I haven't shown, I will say there's something else, is the back strap. That came back and we didn't like the samples, I'll be honest. So it just didn't meet up to our standards. So we changed the back strap. I'm supposed to have the new one tomorrow. It just didn't match the theming, I didn't think. So we went with, it looks kind of like the top, this kind of concept, more like this area, above and below the screen. Not just like that, but it feeds into the top kind of concept on the back strap. So we revised that and we're going to redo it. So I'm happy with the way the direction it's taken now. We're doing signature series again. We have a couple of those. Chris Rangel's in it, Nikki T's in it. We got the Baba Yaga, we got Eric Dearman, we got New York Extreme with theirs. I've showed you theirs. We're doing the quick ships. Quick ships are more limited this time. Actually, the whole run is more limited this time. We're doing less. We're doing more custom, kind of staying to our roots. But we are doing some quick ships, mostly solids, because of our all aluminum foregrip. I don't think the two-tone is really like a big thing. So I think all of our quick ships are just like, solid designs. Dust black. That's the only dust, is dust black. Polished black, polished blue, polished red, gold, and gray. I'm pretty sure that's it. They'll be on the site. We're getting ready to go. Like, the subscribers will be getting emails tonight on about how to get a hold of these things. And when their window runs out, it'll be live to the public here in just a couple days. And then everybody probably cares about pricing. So the Air actually went down in price because of 2 bolts and all the things we're doing. Our cost is actually higher this time. Probably most of it's on the tail cover and the foregrip with R&D. But in any event, we still did lower our price. We just decided to make a little less. We lowered the price on the quick ships let me pull it up here. Sorry. Give me 1 second. I don't want to misspeak here. I'll be posting everything. I'll be posting everything up here shortly, pictures and screenshots and everything as we wrap this up. But probably people want pricing. So if you're familiar with Adrenaline, we also have a lot of customs that vary. So for instance, Caustic is the most, Aesthetic is a little bit more, but most of our full customs fall within a certain price point. and that encompasses the bulk of it. We upload a ton of pictures of prior shockers and TM40s and idles for people to see like what this looks like, because it's kind of hard to imagine. But the bulk of the full customs went down to $23.99.99. So we took some that was in the 24s last time. It depends on who you bought it from. Some of them are in the 25s. And then the quick ships, the Prism is not many of you. So we're making a very limited number of plated ones. The Prism is the only plated one. I don't think the public will probably be able to grab that for the most part. We have more Elite and Flaming Skull members than I'm making on Prisms. So, and that'll be $29.99. And I think, based on that Starbucks cup, I kind of when I first saw the cup, I said, man, that would look great in Prism. And I know it will with the gemstone kind of theme. Okay, so the quick ships themselves is, I didn't want to misspeak, $2,099. So $2,100 roughly, $2,099. It's polished gray, polished gold, polished blue, polished red, polished black, and dust black. It's important to know, if you're not familiar with us, every order gets both frames. So every order is going to get a mech frame, an electronic frame. So the mech frame is going to be probably $200 to $250 on the stock Luxe. You get that it's the Adrenaline version, obviously. You get both triggers that match. You get the grip panels that match. You get both bolt systems. Those bolts will be for sale in the aftermarket eventually, and we're proud of those with our can, because the can is different and it's got WS2 coating along with the bolts. So we've loaded up pretty good, I feel like. The technology was tough on this one because of, like I said, the bolt cap and the foregrip is essentially, plus the geometry of the breech. So three of the main things that we spent really a lot of time on. The foregrip was something we were working on last summer. Okay, so I think that covers it. I'm going to try to look at the chat a little bit, but for the most part, I've been just kind of railing. So I'll kind of come back and answer all these messages will pop up online. So I'll try to answer best I can. But if anybody has any questions, just send us an email. I'll be sending the subscribers emails later tonight with information on how they get in and the procedure. And then again, we'll hopefully start knocking these out pretty soon. I'm planning on honoring our 6 month. I know that sounds a lot for some people. That may sound like a long time actually, but for a full custom, especially with some of these anodizers, like for instance, some of them can do 10 a week, and if we're sending 400 guns, that's 40 weeks. So we've had to manage our shops and throughput, and it doesn't seem like it adds up, but it adds up. So and 10 a week doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a decent amount. So we have to spread it out, and that's what we're doing. And we're getting kind of some more runtime commitments from some of these guys. So, okay. Well, listen, I hope you appreciate our effort. The mods is probably the most we've ever worked on for complexity, I guess you could say, like, changing things. We did change the bolt cap on the XLS to a twist lock from the push button, but this one was much more involved. We'll have some cool accessories coming out down the road with, the foregrip, a possibility to possibly put that on a stock, some, the bolts and the triggers and all that jazz. So if you have questions, hit us up. I'll be around, but for the most part, we'll be working on getting these the subscribers in so I can go live to the public, and we'll be in touch. So if you have any questions, just reach out and we'll try to answer best we can. Thanks, guys.